Welcome back to the Wizard Weekly, where we talk about everything in gaming. The Bethesda published and machine games developed title of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle finally had its worldwide release last night on Xbox and PC, obviously delayed on PlayStation since even though the console exclusive wars are pretty much over now, Xbox, they didn't want to miss out a chance to fuck over Sony one more good time. Nevertheless, the game is finally out, and due to some really convenient price cheesing, I've been able to play it on day one due to the Game Pass, and I gotta be honest, man, the game is not bad. Right here is the gameplay that I captured on my PC, and based on the gameplay deep dive that I went over in one of my previous videos, I thought that the game itself was going to be a little bit more slower, you know, kind of sluggish feeling. Everything kind of felt a little more empty, sandbox with just NPCs scattered around. Based on the trailer, I was kind of iffy going into it, but I gotta be honest, man, playing the game for about 3-4 hours, I had a really better time than I thought I was going to have, at least with the combat loop. Now, you just saw me drop those NPCs like Tyson in his prime, but the combat in this game is very satisfying. Like using the whip, using obviously what you can find on the ground, like all the sticks and hammers and shit, and just knocking them out just outright, you know, parrying attacks. It is all a really fun thing to, you know, piece combos together and get creative with it, since, you know, you're going to have a lot of instances where you're just going to have a lot of hand-to-hand combat moments. And coming from someone who only knows bits and pieces of lore from the Indiana Jones franchise, the movies, I was more of a Star Wars Marvel kid growing up. Just from what I know of the character, this game really captures beautifully what it feels to be like a lone explorer in uncharted areas, taking out enemies and solving puzzles to advance further in your, you know, obvious adventure. Now, the most satisfying way to play this game, in my opinion, is through the stealth mode, since, you know, the enemies, they are kind of spread out a lot through the map, so, you know, it gives you a lot of room for finding creative ways to take them out one by one and distracting them. Like you see, you can pick up that bottle and, you know, throw that around. But you know me, man, I don't give a fuck. So I took out the pistol and I just started shooting shit. Now, unfortunately, I had to shoot this dog because I didn't know what the hell that was going to do with me. You know, I'm more scared of a dog than I am of these fucking NPCs. And if you want to go loud, the game will let you do that, you know, to your fullest, as long as you can handle it. Now, as you can see here, I kind of got stampeded in the stairway here. All the enemies came at me at once. As you can see, I had to turn them into a human pancake. But as far as the story goes, obviously, you play as Indy Jones as a professor at a college, and one night, you find out that someone broke into the campus, and it's this big, gigantic, tall, John Coffee looking bastard, and he stole a cat mummy artifact and left behind his necklace that was able to get him traced back to Rome, where Indiana Jones, he travels overnight to, you know, get his get back and find the shit that he got stolen. Obviously, as the game unpacks, there's more to the story as to, you know, why he stole it and who the hell this person even was, and, you know, what society he represents. But I would say that the story enough is, you know, intriguing to be engaged upon. You know, they give you a lot of lore. You can find, like, as you see here, like stuff on the tables and shit. You know, you can find different journals. And if you're wondering just how open world this title is, it's like pretty much a closed open world, if that makes sense. Like the first area that you go to is Vatican City here, and it's a city that's made of mostly fascists and priests and shit. So you can like go around pretty much anywhere in this entire complex. It's basically like a big ass castle with surrounding like different buildings. You can go anywhere there, but as far as like when you reach like the outside of that castle and see the outside surrounding land, you can't go out there. So that was kind of a disappointment. I was kind of hoping this is going to be more like real open world, like there's going to be a whole city for you to explore. So it's more like they give you parts of different areas of, you know, wherever you're at to explore at a certain time. So that's my biggest letdown, but that's not really anything, because I've had a good time playing this game so far, and I've heard really good things about the title. People are claiming it to be game of the year. I wouldn't go as far to say that, but not that much shit came out this year, to be honest. But yeah, all in all, combining the game's combat, the story, as you can see what I'm doing right here, solving puzzles that they give you as like side quests in the game, I'd say that the game so far, for me, 3 to 4 hours in, it's really good. You know, I'd recommend you to at least try it. Now, do I recommend you pay $70 for it? Because again, I'm only paying $10 or whatever the fuck it is for the Xbox Game Pass month. If you're an Indiana Jones fan, you grew up with the series, and you wanted a good Indiana Jones game, this is hands down the best experience that you're gonna have as far as this IP goes. Like, not a Lego game, not any of those old, you know, movie tie-in titles. None of that is gonna compare to what this game is. Like, this is all original shit that's really good. But if you're just looking for a fun exploration, you know, combat, stealth sort of game, I'd say $70 is a lot still. I'm not even gonna lie to you. All that I can guarantee is that based on my experience playing the game, the combat loop and just overall exploration and unraveling all these quests and stuff, that is really, really fun. So, you know, take with that how you will. And, you know, if you decide to buy this game outright or just play on the Game Pass, because, you know, I just say play it on Game Pass and see how you feel about it, then buy it. But, you know, that's just me. Moving on, the next generation of Nintendo console is more imminent than ever, and leaks and rumors from the Nintendo community is at an all-time high, at least right now. So one of the more known leakers in the overall gaming community, Nate the Hate, he recently shared some new inside review on one of Nintendo's next ports that's going to be a bridge between the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2 that's apparently going to be coming out next year. And that title is what I have on the screen right now, which is the 2016 3DS exclusive game of Kirby Planet Robobot. Now, how he knows this information, he doesn't exactly say, but in his latest podcast, he basically claims that this is going to be one of the games going to be ported to the Nintendo Switch after, we obviously have a track record of importing other 3DS games like Luigi's Mansion 2, which was a really, dope release. Now, this title developed by HAL Laboratory and obviously Nintendo, it's been regarded as one of the best Kirby games in the franchise due to its just intuitive levels and obviously, a bright presentation and just overall really good vibes that you got from playing this title back in the day. So I have no doubt that along with a game like, Xenoblade, which was a Wii U exclusive for years, this game obviously being 3DS exclusive, it would be welcome between the Nintendo community if it was actually to get ported in 2025. But specifically what Nate the Hate says in the video, he says right here.
Around for a while, but the only game I can say with certainty right now is Kirby Planet Robobot.
Well, I will look forward to that because that's definitely a good one. So I can't wait to get my hands on that. That'll be a good get for next year.
Now again, how my man knows this information, I have no idea, and he did not go into any more detail for the rest of the podcast. But Nate the Hate, he does have like a win-loss track record as far as leaking. He did leak a couple of years back like the Doom game or some shit like that. Unfortunately, recently he revealed that October was going to be the month that the Nintendo Switch 2 was going to be announced, but we all know how that shit show turned out. So I want to believe this, guys, since it has been a while since we got a Kirby game, and we all know how much Nintendo loves their HD remasters and remakes of titles. Obviously they turn a profit on an old game. That's name of the game for them. But yeah, unfortunately, like everything else Nintendo related as far as like the past couple of months of leaks and speculation, we're just gonna wait and see. Hey, so just wondering, do you guys remember those $3,500 pairs of, Apple VR headsets that were revealed like 2 years ago, and then it came out, influencers and YouTubers, they had their little fun with it, playing with the new FaceTime mode that looked eerie as hell. Kind of some Apple shit that kind of came and went as far as like, people that have regular incomes kind of paying attention to it, because obviously this is far out of reach for something that most people are going to buy. I know you guys probably tucked that memory in the back of one of your, brain's ridges a long ass time ago, but the only reason I'm talking about it right now is because apparently the Apple Vision Pro headset is going to be collaborating with Sony to make the PlayStation VR 2 controllers compatible with the headset, which is interesting to say the least. Now the Apple Vision Pro, they based this whole thing on not having any controllers and just being able to, use your hands to click where you want to click, obviously seeing what you see on your goggles. But obviously VR is getting much more of a push nowadays, due to like the Meta Quest and, more accessibility to more VR headsets and shit. So Apple, they're obviously trying to capitalize on this, mainstream gaming success and turning to Sony to make their controllers compatible with this, OS, which is already limited in, a lot of ways. I don't even know what games are even compatible with the Apple Vision Pro. Anyways, the reporters claim that according to Gurman, the two partnered up earlier in this year, and Sony has been working on the project for months. Apple and Sony have planned to support the PR's VR2 Sense controllers ready by now, but the launch has been delayed as they iron out a few issues. So I guess it's safe to say that a 2025 update to the Apple Vision Pro to make these controllers you can already, buy right now compatible is, pretty imminent. But I guess that's pretty interesting to see Apple teaming up with arguably one of their competitors, since, they've also been trying to get into the whole gaming thing as far as like, mobile gaming and that whole side of shit. And I mean, to be honest, from a business standpoint, it kind of makes sense as to why Apple is turning to someone that already makes these controllers, since, the threshold for people that already buy an Apple Vision Pro headset is going to be really small, and the ones that want a VR headset controllers to go with that Apple Vision Pro is even smaller. So them just turning to someone that, already makes these types of controllers, just, get it compatible. It's a safe way to not lose a lot of money. And lastly for today, I recently read this article talking about the exclusivity of some of the Grand Theft Auto titles on PlayStation from back in the day, and just a former PlayStation EU president, he chimed in and claimed that during the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox era, they struck a deal with Take-Two Interactive and a bunch of other third-party developers to, keep their games on PlayStation for a limited amount of time, or even exclusive to that platform, just because they were scared of the original Xbox release coming later, in that holiday year. Specifically, he said that just as Christmas was approaching when Xbox would launch, a few of us went out to our favorite third-party publishers and developers, and we asked them, how would you like a special deal if you keep your next generation game on PlayStation exclusive for a 2-year period? Just pull them to an alleyway and say, yo, for you, my friend, I have a special deal. And I just found this funny because we still see these same tactics going on right now in modern day time. So it kind of shows that even though the landscape of gaming has changed completely since 2003, 2002, whenever this game came out, we still see a lot of similarities, especially like even right now with Indiana Jones. That game is being delayed now on PlayStation since this is a Bethesda and Machine Games developed title that is obviously under Xbox's belt. On the other side of that spectrum though, this tactic is one that we only see like few far in between, at least nowadays, because now we see PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox just straight up buying these studios out and just turning them into first party developers and just going from there, having them completely under their wing, no contracts, just they control them. And be real, I don't really mind hard exclusive games, like games you can only play on Xbox or games you can only play on PlayStation, since it gives reason to actually buy these expensive consoles that we're getting charged $4.99, sometimes $6.99, depending on the pro version of that console. I don't think that it's far off to say that if these companies want the continued growth of the console games and just being able to assure sales from selling these expensive consoles, I think that exclusive should still remain a thing to a certain degree. Obviously now modern gaming is getting as many games into many hands as possible. Like Xbox, their whole thing is to make sure that you can play your games anywhere on basically any screen with internet connection. Like that's their bottom line right now. But again, we even heard them themselves entertain the idea of turning the Xbox model into the Steam marketplace type of ordeal, where they just have the Xbox logo as a platform and you can just play any other game that you want to on that system. At least going down the road that they're going right now, where having a set console isn't really needed to enjoy Xbox. Now that's not a bad thing, I've said before, I'm cool with that if that's what they want to do. But as far as like having a whole console ecosystem, which many people prefer, that's kind of the thing that we're going to run into down the line. Now PlayStation, they've kind of done a better job of keeping the console system intact sort of, but now you can play those games on PC, so it's kind of making everything a one-stop shop on that platform. But hey man, that's just how I see it. Gaming itself didn't get this much evolution and into this many players' hands from being stagnant and staying the old ideals from the yesteryear, because if that was the case, we still be going to arcades just to play a fucking fighting game. So maybe this the way that gaming is going, where everything is going to be able to be played on every other system, is a good thing. If that's what it's going to be, I'm cool with that. I'm just saying that exclusivity is kind of the line that's going to be determining whether consoles are going to be having their mainstream use in the next coming generation. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out, but I don't mind either way. And that's all I got for today, man. If you enjoyed the Black Man video, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.